Hello students, welcome to physics class. Myself is Mr. S. Khan and same is Javua. Today we are going to start chapter number 6, electromagnetic induction. What do we understand by electromagnetic induction? Suppose that if a magnetic field lines or magnetic flux link with any conductor or coil get changes, then an induced EMF or current will produce in the conductor or coil, okay, in a circuit or coil. Then this particular phenomena or process is known as the electromagnetic induction. In order to understand this magnetic flux, let us go through the topic magnetic flux first. What do we understand by magnetic flux? Magnetic flux means the magnetic field lines when they are passing through any particular area of cross section, then we can say that the magnetic flux linked with the area. This is said to be magnetic flux and it is denoted by phi of B. Similarly, we have already studied in electrostatics electric flux. Okay. So, this is magnetic flux. Now, let us consider any area A and the direction of this particular area is indicated by unit vector n cap. It will be the unit vector which is normal to the plane of the area, and theta is the angle made between the particular unit vector n cap and the magnetic field lines. Then we can say that magnetic flux phi of B is equal to vector B dot vector A, and vector B dot vector A is written as BA cos theta. Okay. So, what do we see here? Let us see the figure first. This is supposed to be area here, okay, and magnetic field lines are coming out or passing through this area here. We consider that there is a normal direction which is indicated by unit vector n cap, and the angle between magnetic field B and unit vector n cap is theta here. Okay. So, the component of magnetic field in the direction of unit vector is said to be B cos theta. We can see figure number 2 here. This is B cos theta. So, in this way we can say that the magnetic flux linked with this area is equal to phi of B, which is equal to vector B dot vector A, and we can call it the magnitude of this vector B dot vector A is written as BA cos theta. Okay. And we can see that the direction is indicated by this normal unit vector which is normal to the plane of a particular area. So, we write this flux, magnetic flux phi of B is equal to BA cos theta. Okay. And if the angle between magnetic field and unit vector n cap is denoted by theta angle. Now, here we can see consider particular cases between the magnetic field and the area vector. Okay. And we consider that suppose that the magnetic field vector B dot vector A and the area vector, the direction of area vector is always perpendicular to the plane. Okay. So, the angle between these two terms is considered to be 0 degree. Suppose that first case we take here, special cases when theta is equal to 0 degree and uniform magnetic field is acting perpendicular to the surface, then what will happen, how much magnetic flux we can get. Magnetic flux is a scalar quantity, and we see here that suppose this is the surface area and magnetic field lines are moving in this particular direction. This is the direction of magnetic field lines, and we place this surface area perpendicular to the magnetic field lines. If this is the direction of magnetic field and this is perpendicular face of the area is kept like this here. So, we can say that the direction of magnetic field is this one, it is passing through this area, but what will be the direction of area vector in this condition? So, we say that the direction of area vector is also perpendicular to the surface area there, okay, plane of it. It means that the angle between the direction of area vector and the magnetic field line will be 0. Theta is equal to 0 degree. If theta is equal to 0 degree, if we use the term or equation phi of B is equal to BA cos theta, in place of cos theta if we place cos 0, value of cos 0 is equal to 1, we can get the magnetic flux linked with the surface area BA, which is the maximum magnetic flux linked with the surface area. Okay, when we place this particular surface area perpendicular to it, when it is placed perpendicular, the direction of area vector will become parallel to the magnetic field lines and angle between both this will become 0 degree. Okay. Now, second condition we see that suppose that if the area is surface area is placed parallel to the magnetic field lines, what will be the condition? What will be the magnetic flux link with the surface area? Suppose that this is the magnetic field line direction, and if we place this surface area parallel to it like this. If we place it parallel to it like this, you see that this magnetic field line is passing through like this. What will be the direction of area vector? We can say that the direction of area vector is always perpendicular to its plane. It means that the angle between the magnetic field line and the area vector will be 90 degree. It means that both are perpendicular to each other. If theta is equal to 90 degree, we can say that cos 90 value is equal to 0. If we place this, substitute this value in equation, phi of b is equal to cos ba cos theta. In place of theta we place 90 degree cos 90 degree, cos 90 value is equal to 0, phi of b magnetic flux is equal to 0. It means that 0 flux link with the surface area when this surface area is placed parallel to it, but the direction of area vector is perpendicular to the magnetic field. So, these are two cases related with the magnetic flux. Magnetic flux is a scalar quantity, it is indicated by phi of b. Now, what will be the unit of magnetic flux? SI unit of magnetic flux is measured in Weber. We indicate 1 Weber is equal to 1 Tesla into 1 meter square. So, it is said that 1 Weber is equal to 1 Tesla meter square. This is the SI unit of magnetic flux. If we consider the CGS unit of magnetic flux, the CGS unit is said to be Maxwell. 1 Maxwell is equal to 10 to the power minus 8 Weber. These are some units of magnetic flux. If we try to find out the dimensional formula for the magnetic flux, we use the formula phi of b. Phi is magnetic flux, Ba cos theta. Okay, cos theta is supposed to be dimensionless quantity, and we know that B is equal to F upon QV. QV means force is equal to QVB. We know that, therefore magnetic field B is equal to F upon QV. We place the value of B here, so we can say that phi of B is equal to F into A upon QV into cos theta. Cos theta is dimensionless. So, in place of Q, that is charge, we place I into T. I is current, T is time. Okay. So, we place the value of force here, mLT to the power minus 2, value of area, dimensional value of area, that is L square, and down here in place of current I, ampere, time T, capital T, and for the velocity we write LT to the power minus 1. By solving this term, we come to the conclusion that the dimensional formula of magnetic flux phi of B is equal to mL square T to the power minus 2 A to the power minus 1. This is the dimensional formula of magnetic flux. Okay. In this way, this is about magnetic flux linked with the surface area. Now, in order to understand the concept of electromagnetic induction, some discoveries and understandings are done by two scientists whose names were Faraday and Henry. So, these two men has done some experiments, and on the basis of experiments we are going to just understand the electromagnetic induction. So, first experiment done by Faraday was, and Henry was, this is the figure of first experiment. In this figure you can see that one coil is there, this type of circular coil, like this circular coil is kept like this, and through this circular coil a galvanometer is attached here, and one circuit diagram is there down, and galvanometer is attached in order to identify the current flows through it. Okay. And now you can see that the bar magnet, this is the bar magnet, like this one bar magnet is there. The bar magnet whose north pole side is brought just nearer or towards the coil. We know that the magnetic field lines are coming out from the north pole of a bar magnet and it enters to the south pole of a bar magnet, and it is a continuous closed loop of magnetic field lines. When this particular bar magnet is brought towards the coil there, the magnetic field lines which are emerging out from the bar magnet will link with this particular coil or conductor. When it link, we can say that the magnetic field lines or magnetic flux link with the coil will changes. When it changes, then an induced current will flow through this coil. Okay, as it moves towards, means during its motion, during the motion of the bar magnet, the magnetic field lines or magnetic flux link with the coil changes, means it keeps on increasing. In that, at that moment, we can see the deflection in galvanometer here, and the current flows in particular one direction. Another way, suppose that if the magnet is kept stationary at some distance away from the coil, there is no deflection seen in the particular instrument galvanometer, it means that no induced current is flowing through it. Suppose that this particular bar magnet is moved away from here, so we can say that the magnetic flux which is linking through this coil is start decreasing now. When it start decreasing, at that particular moment, again we can see that there is a deflection seen in the galvanometer. It means that induced current is flowing through this particular coil here, but in opposite direction. This is the concept that due to the relative motion of this particular bar magnet towards the coil and away from the coil, we consider that an induced current is flown through the particular coil in different directions. This is first experiment. Second experiment done by Faraday and Henry. In this second experiment, we can see that the two coils are taken here, and first coil is same coil, coil C1. We consider that through this coil C1, we see that one galvanometer is attached here. Another coil is taken, and this another coil is attached with a battery here, or stationary or steady current is flowing through this coil. This coil is supposed to be coil C2. Now this C2 coil is brought now nearer to the coil C1, first coil. When it moves towards the coil C1 here. During its motion, we see that the deflection in the galvanometer and current flows in this particular coil in one direction. As this particular coil move away from the coil C1, then we can see that again there is a deflection seen in this particular galvanometer and current flow in opposite direction in this particular coil. So we can see that due to the motion of this coil, since steady current is flowing in the coil due to this battery which is attached here, so the current, induced current we can find here in coil C1 here, okay, and this is induced current flown in different direction by the motion of coil C2 there. This is the second experiment. Suppose that if we fix this C2 coil here, in which steady current is flowing through the battery there, and if we try to move this coil, then also we can see that when it is moved towards the C2 coil, during its motion we can find the current in this coil, and when it moves this C2 coil away from the C1 coil away from C2, we can find current flowing through this coil here. Okay, so in this way also the current will produce, induced current will flow through the coil here. Third experiment we see here. Now, because of these two experiments, we come to conclude that whenever there is a relative motion between the source and this magnet or magnetic field in which create the magnetic field here, okay, the current will produce in the conductor or coil. Third experiment we see here. Now in this particular experiment, first coil is taken as it is, C1 coil in which galvanometer is attached. Second coil is taken in which battery is attached here, through which the current is flowing through the coil here. When the current flows through the coil, a magnetic field is produced around current carrying coil, and this magnetic field will link with the coil here. Okay, when current stop flowing through this, magnetic field not flow through this coil there, then there is no magnetic flux linked with this coil, and if there is no magnetic field flux linked with this coil, no induced current will found here. So tapping key is there. When tapping key is closed, means it is kept closed there, so we see that the current start flowing through this coil. Both coils are kept stationary in this condition here. When key is closed, current start flowing through this coil. When current start flowing through this coil, magnetic field will produce by this coil. When this magnetic field will produce, means the current keeps on increasing, the magnetic field lines will keeps on increasing and it is linked and it get changes, means magnetic flux get changes, linked with this coil will changes, it increases. During this time deflection will be seen in the galvanometer, current flows in one direction. Okay. When the current becomes steady, no induced current will flow through it. As the tapping key is open, means it is released, the current start decreasing from this coil. As the current start decreasing from this coil, the magnetic flux linked with the coil keeps on decreasing. As it keeps on decreasing, it means that the magnetic flux linked with this coil again get changes. When this magnetic flux get changes, here linked with this coil changes, again we can see the deflection in the galvanometer, and when it becomes 0 here, there is no induced current will flow through this coil. So we come to the conclusion that whenever the magnetic flux linked with the conductor, coil or a circuit get changes, then only an induced EMF or induced current flow through this coil. Okay, so this is the conclusion about by these 3 experiments done by Faraday and Henry. On the basis of this conclusion, Faraday has given 2 laws. Faraday's first law of electromagnetic induction, what does it say? First law says that whenever the magnetic flux linked with the conductor changes, an EMF is induced in it or circuit, and if circuit is closed, an induced current flows through it. Okay, so this is the first law, Faraday's first law of electromagnetic induction. What does second law says that? Faraday's second law of electromagnetic induction says that the magnitude of induced electro EMF, induced EMF is which is produced due to the change in magnetic flux, it is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux linked with the conductor. It means that the induced EMF which is formed or which produces in a particular conductor is directly proportional to the magnetic flux, means the change of magnetic flux linked with the conductor. So it says that if E is considered as EMF, induced EMF, then it can be written as d phi of B upon dt, rate of change of magnetic flux, and negative sign is shown here. This negative sign shows that induced EMF which produces there, it always opposes the change in magnetic flux linked with the conductor. This is the Faraday's second law. Now little bit if we try to just derive this expression E is equal to d phi by dt, we can consider that suppose phi of 1 be the magnetic flux linked with the closed circuit or coil in time t1, and phi of 2 be the magnetic flux linked with the closed circuit at time t2. Then change in time interval will be t2 minus t1 and change in magnetic flux will be phi of 2 minus phi of 1. Okay, according to the Faraday's second law, we can say that E means induced EMF is directly proportional to the rate of change in magnetic flux. It means that phi of 2 minus phi of 1 upon T2 minus T1. Okay, so it can be written as E is equal to K into phi of 2 minus phi of 1 upon T2 minus T1. We can write this rate of change in magnetic flux is d phi of B upon change in time interval as dt. So we can see that by just keeping the constant k is equal to 1, we get this E is equal to minus d phi of B upon dt, the above expression that we have seen in second law. Okay, so if n number of turns are there in a coil or in a conductor through which the magnetic flux link changes, n number of turns are there, we place capital N here. Okay, so the expression become E is equal to minus n d phi of B upon dt. So induced current in a closed circuit can be taken out by using this expression also. Induced current in a closed circuit, I is equal to total EMF upon resistance. So EMF E upon R, the value of E from here we can place here, it will become d phi of B upon R into dt with negative sign. In this way we can try to take out the expression for induced current also. Okay, so this is about Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. Next we take the another law which is very important, Lenge's law. Lenge's law says that the polarity of induced EMF which is produced in a conductor then is such that it always opposes the cause which produce it. Means suppose that if a coil is taken and through this closed coil the north pole of bar magnet is being brought. When it is being brought towards the coil there, the magnetic flux field lines get changes here, okay, and an induced EMF or current will flow through this coil, but this induced current which flow in such a way that it produces this face of the coil as a north pole, and when the north pole is brought nearer to north pole there is a repulsion takes place. Means this coil produces current in such a way that in anti-clockwise direction in such a way that it opposes the change in magnetic flux, the cause which changes the produce in this particular coil there, okay. So here this is Lenge's law, means the polarity of induced EMF always opposes the cause which produces it, and we can write here the same E is equal to minus n d phi by phi of b by dt. Negative sign shows that the induced EMF opposes the change in the magnetic flux. Consider a coil or closed loop and a bar magnet. Suppose that north pole of a bar magnet is brought towards a closed loop, anti-clockwise direction current will flow. When anti-clockwise current will flow, this face of the coil, north pole is produced in this face of the coil, it means that it is opposing the coming north pole of bar magnet, okay. Force of repulsion will produce. See that this north pole is brought towards the coil, north pole is produced here, it is opposing the coming north pole there, okay. There is a force of repulsion takes place between these two, okay. Similarly, if north pole of a magnet is taken away from it, this current, induced current which produced in the coil will start flowing clockwise direction, and if it start flowing clockwise direction, the south pole is formed on this particular face of the coil. It means that the force of attraction takes place between these two poles. North pole is moving away, so it is opposing. In order to oppose this north pole of bar magnet, south pole is produced there, and this south pole try to attract the north pole, okay. The force of attraction takes place between these two. See that this north pole is just brought away, south pole is produced due to the clockwise direction of induced current in the coil. So this is about Lenge's law, okay. Lenge's law is in accordance with the law of conservation of energy. So we can say that in both conditions we have studied that two cases we have seen that in this Lenge's law, when north pole is brought nearby to the coil here, this face of the north pole, the induced current will flow in anti-clockwise direction, north pole is produced here. In this particular case, there is a force of repulsion produced between these two, means the bar magnet and the coil. Means if we just try to bring move towards this bar magnet further towards the coil there, we have to do a mechanical work. When we do this mechanical work, this mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy, and when this electrical energy is converted into energy, converted further into heat energy due to Joule's effect. It means that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can transform from one form to other form here. So mechanical energy, we have to apply force, we have to do some work, mechanical work over the bar magnet to move towards the coil, because already repulsion force is produced between these two, okay. So this mechanical energy is converted again in electrical energy, and electrical energy is further converted into heat energy due to Joule's effect. This is the conservation of energy, okay. Again in second case, if we see that here we are just moving north pole away from the coil there, south pole is produced here, means the force of attraction is produced between these two. If we try to move the bar magnet away from it, we have to do mechanical work, means mechanical energy, and again in doing so the mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy in the coil, and this is again the transformation of energy, and this says that the conservation of energy. So conservation of energy takes place in Lenge's law, okay. So this is about Lenge's law and the conservation of energy in it. It means that Lange's law is in accordance with the law of conservation of energy. Next rule, we see that Fleming's right hand rule. What does Fleming's right hand rule says? Fleming's right hand rule says that if we keep our index finger, middle fingers and thumb perpendicular to each other like this. This is index finger, this is middle finger and this is thumb perpendicular to each other in such a way that this index finger which is stretched, this index finger which is stretched, okay, both are perpendicular. Index fingers points the direction of magnetic field, thumb points the direction of moving conductor, then this middle finger of this particular right hand will show us the direction of induced current or induced EMF. Okay, so it shows the direction of induced current. So this law is just given, right hand thumb rule is Fleming's right hand rule is given in order to determine the direction of induced current. Okay, so we can find out the direction of induced current by using the middle finger in this law. This shows the magnetic field, thumb shows the motion of conductor and this middle finger will give us the direction of induced current, okay, where the induced current will flow. So this is the figure for right hand rule. Thumbs show the motion of conductor, field, index finger and middle finger shows the induced EMF or current. This is the direction of induced EMF of current. Motional EMF. Let us take the concept of motional EMF. Motional EMF in a conductor moving to magnetic field obtained from Lorentz force. So we just take that here. Whenever we have taken a particular rectangular particular conductor there in which a conductor PQ is placed whose length is supposed to be PQ and this PQ conductor which is attached in this frame, rectangular frame ABCD is there and this PQ is movable. Okay, when the force is applied, this particular PQ conductor will move. So if it moves in this particular direction, its velocity will be in this particular direction. So according to figure, if you see here, according to figure, cross signs are there on the plane of paper here, okay, on the plane here. What does it means? What is the direction of particular magnetic field? So according to this cross symbol, we can say that the cross symbol shows that the direction of magnetic field is towards the plane like this. This is the direction of magnetic field due to this cross. So direction of magnetic field is inward. You see that if velocity of conductor PQ which is supposed to move in this particular direction means the motion of conductor is in this direction. So this is a conductor PQ, where will the induced EMF or current will flow, from P to Q or Q to P. So if we try to use this right hand rule, Fleming's right hand rule, this particular index finger shows the direction of magnetic field, thumb shows the direction of motion of conductor, then this finger, middle finger, will show the direction of EMF of induced current. So now let us now see that the direction of magnetic field is inward here. So we keep our finger like this, okay, we keep our finger like this and the direction of motion of conductor is like this. Thumb shows the direction of motion of conductor, so middle finger will show downward direction. It means that whenever the induced EMF produced in moving conductor here, okay, a motional EMF is produced in this moving conductor is direction from P to Q. So direction will become from P to Q. Let us see now. So let us try to derive the expression for it. The Lorentz force which is acting here is supposed to be F of m QEB. The direction of force on the charge as per Fleming's rules I just explained to you. P to Q is the direction of EMF. Work done in moving this particular coil conductor in the particular frame, W is equal to Fm into PQ. Okay, PQ is the displacement. Force expression we have placed here, QEB. Q is the charge, V is the velocity, B is the magnetic field and L is the length of the conductor. Okay, so this is the work done. EMF is defined as work done per unit charge, EMF or voltage. Okay, potential difference V is equal to work done per unit charge. So work done is here, charge is here. If we bring this charge down here, W upon Q, it will become EMF, which will be denoted by E. Okay. So we can say that E is equal to W, okay, length of the conductor, velocity and magnetic field. So induced EMF for or motional EMF expression will be as E is equal to BLV. This is the expression, required expression for the motional EMF in a conductor. Okay. Suppose that if we try to see the motional EMF in a conducting rod which is rotating in magnetic field, means one end of the rod is fixed at the center of circle and it is rotating like this in a circle, okay, in a magnetic field like this, it is rotating. Other end only half, means one part of the end of this rod is rotating and one end is fixed at the center of the circle. Okay. Then what will be the motional EMF in this type of conducting rod which is rotated in magnetic field? Let us suppose now here, according to this figure, this is the PQ is supposed to be a rotating rod and we can see that it is rotated through the center, one end is fixed here, okay, PQ of length rotates by angular velocity omega in this particular direction. When it rotates, it makes certain angle alpha here, okay, angles alpha here, okay, and it moves from Q to Q dash. The rod moves or rotated from Q to Q dash, this end of the rod. So alpha angle is equal to arc upon radius, therefore radius arc is equal to radius into angle, that is L. L is the length of the rod and alpha is the angle, L into alpha. Okay. Now magnetic field here is perpendicular to the plane. By cross symbol you can see that magnetic field is perpendicular to it. If the rod is turned by angle alpha in time t, it takes t time, then the area shift out in moving a rod from point Q to Q dash. How much will be the area? Area is equal to half into L, length of the rod, into arc. L into alpha, it becomes half L square alpha. Okay. Now, by the definition of magnetic flux linked with it phi is equal to BA cos 0 degree, which will be B into A, where B is the magnetic field and A is the area. We place the value of area from here, we can get B is into half L square alpha. Okay. Now, the magnitude of induced EMF in the rod will be how much? We know that E is equal to d phi by dt. Induced EMF is equal to rate of change in magnetic flux. So phi value we place here, d by dt of phi value, B into half I square L square. Okay. Now half B L square is taken like this and d alpha by dt. What is d alpha by dt? This d alpha by dt will become the angular velocity. Okay, displacement upon time, we can get the angular velocity which is denoted by omega. So overall just expression for the induced EMF in rotating rod will become half BL square omega. This is about the motional EMF or induced EMF in a rotating rod or in a particular conductor which is moving. Okay, that is called as the motional EMF. Eddy current. What do you understand by eddy current? So we can say that eddy currents are those currents which produces whenever the magnetic flux linked with a particular conductor get changes. Due to this magnetic flux an induced current produced there, but when this just magnetic flux linked with the conductor changes and a particular current will produce in the form of eddies over the surface of conductor which opposes the motion of it, which opposes the motion of a particular conductor or which opposes the cause. So this type of currents or circulating current we can call, these currents are called as eddy currents. Induced circulating currents produced in a conductor itself due to the change in magnetic flux linked with the conductor are called eddy currents. So these are called eddy currents. Let us see now. The magnetic flux are linking with this particular metallic block get changes and this eddy currents which is in the circle form you can see here, these currents are called as the eddy current. Since these currents were discovered by Foucault, a scientist who is named by Foucault, so they are also known as Foucault currents. The direction of current, eddy current, is always given by Lenge's law. Eddy currents are produced in metallic block placed in non-uniform magnetic field. Just now we have seen the figure of it. Okay. Jumping disc is one of the example of eddy current. Okay. Now we can see that jumping disc, we can see here in the disc electromagnet is there. Here electromagnet, a solenoid is just wounded over a particular conductor there, electromagnet attached with the external source, key is there, and over this an aluminum just plate is placed. Okay. When the current start flowing through this, the magnetic flux just get linked with the coil, solenoid changes. Due to this an induced just particular current flows. Okay. But here in this particular coil, when the magnetic flux link with the coil changes, eddy currents are produced here. This eddy currents leads to the production of eddy currents in the metallic plate also. So what does it result? In result we can see that the face of this particular electromagnet, this face, upper face of this coil, we can see that the north pole is produced, and here in the aluminum plate, the lower face of the aluminum plate, we can see that here also due to the eddy currents the north pole is produced there. Due to north pole and north pole, the repulsion force produces between these two, between the solenoid and the plate here, and due to this we can see that the metal is this just little bit raised at a certain height from the particular coil or electromagnet. So this is said to be the jumping disc. Okay, this is the result of eddy currents. Damping oscillation, we can see that damping oscillation in a particular simple pendulum also, or if a particular coil or particular plate is allowed to just rotate or move through the magnet, uniform magnetic field, you can see that this particular plate is allowed to rotate like this, just passing through the magnetic field. When it passes through the magnetic field, we can see that the magnetic field lines are uniform. When it passes through like this, move like this, the magnetic field link with this coil changes, and when it gets changes, magnetic flux link with this particular plate changes. Due to this result, eddy currents are formed on the surface of the plate, and this eddy current just opposes the motion of this particular coil or plate. When it opposes, slowly when it is moving like this, slowly this particular plate which is moving, just passing through the magnetic field, it comes to the rest position. Okay. So this is said to be the damping. Okay, damping oscillation takes place due to the eddy current. In order to minimize this effect of the eddy current, these plates are used in the form of the slots, so that minimum eddy current is formed and there is a minimum just damping takes place in the particular plates. Advantages and application of eddy current, we can see that so many advantages are there, applications are there of eddy currents. Induction furnace based on the eddy currents, speedometer works on the bike, speedometer works on the eddy current, on the function of eddy current. Deadbeat of galvanometer, the pointer of galvanometer come to rest position when it comes, okay, due to eddy current. Electromagnetic brakes which takes place in trains nowadays, these are due to eddy currents only, brakes are applied. These are some advantages and application of eddy currents. Disadvantages, what do we see the disadvantages? We can see that the production of eddy currents in a metallic block leads to the loss of electrical energy in the form of heat. Some energy is lost in the form of heat. This is one disadvantage. Second disadvantage, the heat produced due to eddy currents breaks in the insulation used in electrical machines or appliances. This is another disadvantage. Third one, we can see that sometimes eddy current may cause unwanted damping effect also. Some just body which is moving, passing through this, it comes to damp, okay, due to damping it comes to rest position. So these are certain disadvantages of eddy currents also. So that's all for today's topic. Now we'll continue our next topic, remaining topic of electromagnetic induction in next lecture. Till then all of you stay safe, stay healthy, goodbye, thank you.